Hi guys, welcome back. So today we're going to be removing my alternator and my serpentine belt on my 1997 Ford Ranger pickup. It's got a 4.0 engine in it and it has air conditioning. So I thought I'd share this information with you. The part's not that expensive. I went ahead and replaced my serpentine belt anyway, so it's so easy to do. Believe me, you could do it yourself. I've conveniently put the part on the bottom and you can order it online. It'll be convenient for you if you're going to fix it in the future. You have it on hand. If it's not there right now, it will be in the future. Okay, if you go down to the parts store and pick up your alternator first, I usually like to pick up my parts first. That way when I'm taking off the broken part, I can at least compare the two right away if it's going to work or not, or if they gave me the right part. Okay, as you can see in the picture here, these red arrows are telling you that, obviously you're going to see 3 holes, but there's going to be bolts there. They're going to be 13 millimeter bolts. You're going to need a socket, 13 millimeter socket, to take that out. Once you take the bolts out, you're going to slowly turn it so you can expose the backside, because you're going to need to unplug 3 things. Okay, once you turn it over, the first thing you're going to do is to unplug. You can see where that red arrow's at. You're going to want a thin screwdriver. And this plug that you're going to remove could be brittle, so be very, very careful. What you don't want to do is break it, because you have a clip there that keeps that plug in there. And if you break it, that plug is not going to hold in, and after a while with vibration, it'll disconnect. You won't see it disconnected. If it is disconnected, you're lucky, but if it's just slightly disconnected, your battery will drain until there's no power, which means when you start your truck, it won't start because the battery's dead. So make sure that clip is plugged in. Then you have the blue wire. It's another smaller plug. Same thing, just be careful when you take it out. And then on the green arrow, you're going to use a 10 millimeter socket to remove that screw, and that's it. And then you just put the U1 in, and you're good to go. Since the electrical system, what we need to do is disconnect the positive side of the battery. I usually just do the positive, but if you want to do both, that's up to you. Okay, the first thing we're going to remove is the intake hose. And that's that long thing that looks like an elephant trunk there. That's your intake hose. The red arrow in the middle is your alternator. The far right arrow, you'll see a hose clamp. So you'll need a screwdriver to unscrew that. And on the far left side, you can see that latch there. You're going to unclamp that latch. It's the air filter chamber. So just unclamp it. And once you got it unclamped, and as you can see here, you have to have that clamp completely off. And you can feel that it gets loose. Just slightly disconnect it. You can see in the front here how to use a screwdriver to break the seal. There you go. Okay, I didn't have to take apart anything else. And what I'm doing now is just slowly rolling the intake hose back and not having to disconnect anything else. Okay, we're going to remove the serpentine belt. And if you look in front of your truck, you'll see this sticker. If you don't have a sticker, pause this and either print it or draw it on a piece of paper. That way you know exactly how to put your serpentine belt back on. If you see the dotted line there where it says less AC, that means if you don't have an AC compressor, that's the pattern that you will be using. If you have an AC, obviously you can see on top there the belt's going to be a little longer, and that's the pattern you're going to use. If you look on the left, you'll see a tensioner. And what that is you're going to take a 3/8 ratchet, preferably a long arm one, and you're going to stick it in that hole where that arrow's at, and you're going to turn it clockwise. See that big arrow there, that big black arrow? That's the direction you're going to turn your socket wrench. Okay, this is the 3/8 ratchet. You'll see a little square down there where I was telling you at. And you're going to fit that ratchet right in there, and you're going to turn it, counterclockwise, and take that top fan bell out. It's right of the alternator, and just remove it, and then just let Just let the wrench go back and you'll see it, the fan belt just comes loose. Now that we have the fan belt removed, we can start taking off our 13mm bolts. There's 3 of them. Once we've taken out the 3 bolts, as you can see here, we can turn the alternator off on its side so we can look at the back. We're going to turn it on its back, and what we're going to do is unplug 2 plugs, one large one and one small one. Use a skinny screwdriver or some kind of a pick to release that little clip that's in there. Remember, these are plastic and they're probably going to be a little brittle, so be very careful not to break them. And we're going to use a 10mm socket to take out a screw. Now you can pick up the alternator and remove it. Compare it to your new alternator. Here's our new alternator. Take the screw off that's on the back and set it aside so you don't lose it. Now it's time to install your new alternator. Go ahead and lay it on its back and start connecting the 2 plugs and screw in the wire with the 10mm screw. Now it's time to put your alternator in. Go ahead and line the 3 holes up and start putting in your 13mm bolts in. Once you got the bolts threaded in, they're good. You're going to tighten them nice and tight. Not too tight to where you strip out the bolt. Okay, once you've done correctly installing your alternator, it's time to install your fan belt. Now if you remember this diagram that I showed you in the beginning, what you want to do is you want to loop on the very bottom. You can see that red line there on your crankshaft. You want to wrap it around that first. As you can see the blue arrow, what you're going to do is wrap it around your water pump and then wrap it around where the green arrow is at, and that's your power steering pump. If you don't have an air conditioner, you can see the dotted line is going to go across. You're not going to put it under that idler pulley right there. That's in the middle between the green and the yellow. What you're going to do next is go from the red, which is the bottom of the crankshaft, and bring it all the way up to the yellow there where it's going to go around your alternator. By the way, make sure that the fan belt is facing the right way. You've got grooves on the fan belt, so make sure they match up to your pulley grooves. Anyway, so you wrap it around your alternator, and it's not going to fit if you have the AC. If you wrap it around the AC with the light powder blue arrows out there, the AC line, it's not going to fit under that idler arm, and that's where you use your 3/8 ratchet on your idler arm, and that's what's, once you turn it counterclockwise, it'll loosen it up so you can slip it over that idler pulley. As you can see, my ratchet is long, but it's not long enough. So what I did was I put a large box end wrench on it to give me a little more torque, and it was a lot easier to maneuver and put the fan belt under that middle idler pulley, and it just went right in. Okay, everything looks good. Everything's all nice and tight. Everything's where it's supposed to be. Once we're done connecting our battery, now all we have to do is reinstall our air tube. And go ahead and connect back our battery. Then we can start it. Alright, see how easy that was? Well, I'm glad you stopped by and checked out this video, and I hope it helped you out. Please check out my other videos and don't forget to like and subscribe. Until then, see you later. Bye.